Battle through the heavens, grand world. Chapter 215. Time is running out. After auctioning off the mysterious ore, Xiao Yan heaved a sigh of relief. He couldn't act willfully in the next auction, and that would be the time to spend his monarch crystal. Mr. Xiao, big sister wants you to go over there now. When Xiao Yan finally relaxed, a woman suddenly appeared outside the door. It was the woman who had sent the map of Profound Yin Castle to Xiao Yan earlier. She whispered to Xiao Yan through the crystal outside the private room. Sister. Xiao Yan was startled for a moment, then he felt relieved. He looked at the anxious face of the girl outside the door. Xiao Yan thought for a while and then sighed. He pulled up the hood of the black robe and covered his head. Then he got up and left the room. Although he was very interested in the next auction item, Jade Fairy also had an agreement with him first. Now that she was looking for him, perhaps there was something important that she needed to do. After Xiao Yan came out, he also attracted the attention of some people around him. They watched as the former left. Everyone merely glanced at him before they no longer paid any attention to him. All of them turned their gazes towards the treasure that appeared next. Zhao Qingshan sat on his seat. His 10 fingers were crossed as he mused for a moment. He did not pay any attention to Xiao Yan. At the same time that Xiao Yan's figure disappeared from the hall, Yin Jushuan, who was in the distance, seemed to have sensed something. He turned his gaze over, only to see Xiao Yan's back. Yin Jushuan frowned. He withdrew his gaze and shifted his attention to the arena. After watching for a while, Yin Jushuan suddenly raised his head and said in a deep voice, "Auction is about to end. You should go back and tell Yin Kang that he is ready to fight. I want everyone to know that a genius of Profound Yin sect is going to rise in an unstoppable manner." An elder nodded his head and stood up. He bid farewell to Yin Jushuan and left in a hurry. Under the lead of the young girl, Xiao Yan entered the interior of the auction hall. After passing through a long and narrow corridor, a spacious hall appeared in front of him. In the distance, there was a luxurious room. "May I know why Jade Fairy called me here?" Walking in the hall, Xiao Yan suddenly spoke. From the moment he came out until now, this young girl had not spoken a single word, which made Xiao Yan quite curious. When she heard Xiao Yan's question, the young girl, who had been focusing on her journey, stopped in her tracks. After that, her shoulders trembled slightly, and she turned around. Her pretty face was covered in tears. While Xiao Yan was still in shock, the young girl acted as if she was about to kneel down. Xiao Yan immediately felt a headache coming on. He took a big stride forward and supported the girl. At this moment, he didn't care about whether it was a man or a woman. He looked at the pretty girl in front of him with surprise. Just as she was about to speak, the girl let out a soft moan. 2 streams of clear tears flowed down her cheeks, and attracted Xiao Yan's puzzled gaze. The girl sobbed and said, "Mr. Xiao, you must save our sister Yu." Hearing this, the doubt in Xiao Yan's heart was slightly lifted. He let go of the hand that was holding the woman's shoulder and said in a deep voice, "Don't cry yet. What's your name and what's going on? Explain clearly." The woman sobbed lightly and wiped away her tears. She softly said, "Sister Yu called me Yun. This is my name." Seeing Xiao Yan nod his head, Yun bit her red lips and said, "Mr. Xiao, you must win the next competition. Otherwise, Sister Yu." As she spoke, Yun sobbed softly again. The expression in her eyes also dimmed. Xiao Yan frowned. When Jade Fairy mentioned that she wanted the White Yang Spirit Lotus, he had some suspicions. Now that he heard what Yun said, this suspicion became clear. "Is your big sister Yu poisoned?" Xiao Yan narrowed his eyes and said softly. Yun looked at Xiao Yan with red and swollen eyes and nodded. With a sobbing tone, she said, "A few years ago, Sister Yu came here to train. She was targeted by Yin Jushuan, but at that time, Sister Yu was much stronger than Yin Jushuan. She had almost stepped into the Emperor cultivation, and although Yin Jushuan had touched the threshold of the Emperor cultivation, Sister Yu. After that, Yin Jushuan obtained an ancient recipe from somewhere. He secretly fed Sister Yu the medicine pill that he concocted. After that, Sister Yu was controlled by the Profound Yin sect's ultimate technique, the Great Yin Spirit Arts, which caused her strength to drop drastically. As Sister Yu threatened him with her self-destruction, Yin Jushuan didn't use force, but he didn't give her the antidote either. Big Sister Yu wanted to concoct the White Yang pill to free herself from the control, but the core ingredient, the White Yang Spirit Lotus, was found in the entire star-severing mountain range. Big Sister Yu had no choice but to open the medicine pavilion. She wanted to use this name to attract the White Yang Spirit Lotus. Yun paused for a moment, then said with tears streaming down her face, "A year ago, the traces of the White Yang Spirit Lotus finally appeared, but Yin Jushuan forcefully took it away. At that time, his strength was already at the Emperor cultivation, and Sister Yu was powerless to fight him. She could only watch helplessly as her hope was buried." When Xiao Yan heard this, he frowned slightly, then laughed bitterly in his heart. He never thought that Jade Fairy, who was laughing in front of outsiders, would have such a sad past. For the past year, due to the poison in her body, Sister Yu's body has been deteriorating day by day. When Yin Jushuan threatened her with this, Sister Yu rejected him without hesitation. However, her body won't be able to hold on much longer. While they were talking, the two of them had already arrived at Jade Fairy's room. Yun looked at Xiao Yan with teary eyes, her voice was filled with pain. "Yun don't talk too much." Just as Xiao Yan was about to speak, a charming voice sounded from behind the tent in front of him. After which, Jade Fairy, who was wearing a purple dress, slowly walked out. A mature charm hit her face. Her figure was slender and she was like a celestial maiden descending to the mortal world, charming all living things. Her waterfall-like hair casually fell down her shoulders, and her waist was so slender that it seemed like she could only clench it. The purple dress made her even more attractive, and her beautiful face was still wearing a beautiful smile. Xiao Yan looked at Jade Fairy and his eyes couldn't help but flash with a trace of astonishment. The latter's appearance was almost on par with Kai Lin and Xuan. "The auction isn't done yet, right? What's the matter? Have you bought enough of the 3 items?" There was no trace of sadness on Jade Fairy's pretty face. She smiled sweetly and looked at Xiao Yan with her beautiful eyes. "How is the poison in your body?" Xiao Yan narrowed his eyes and did not answer Jade Fairy's question. He asked in a deep voice. Jade Fairy frowned and then laughed. Her sweet voice instantly became extremely cold. She looked at Yun who was beside Xiao Yan. She said faintly, "Why are you telling him all this?" Yun saw Jade Fairy's indifferent gaze and her delicate body trembled. Although this kind of gaze did not hide killing intent, it was extremely familiar to them. At this moment, Jade Fairy was extremely furious. Xiao Yan extended his hand and supported Yun who almost fell to the ground. His eyes did not have the slightest fear as he looked at Jade Fairy. Facing the cold and indifferent gaze of the latter, Xiao Yan lightly smiled and said, "It's what I want to know. It has nothing to do with her. Furthermore, your body can't hold on much longer. It's better not to get angry." Jade Fairy heard this and revealed a smile on her exquisite face. However, her gaze was still indifferent. Her red lips parted slightly as she said, "You don't need to care about my body. You only need to win the competition and get the White Jade Spirit Lotus from Yin Jushuan for me." Staring at Jade Fairy's pretty face, Xiao Yan sneered. He let go of Yun hand and suddenly took a few steps forward. He came in front of Jade Fairy and stared at the delicate face of the latter and said coldly, "Don't worry about it. What kind of joke is this? This concerns my life. After I get the White Jade Spirit Lotus for you, with Yin Jushuan's Emperor cultivation strength, can you stop him?" Jade Fairy's expression changed. After hearing Xiao Yan's aggressive words, the luster in her beautiful eyes dimmed. After a long time, she finally said softly, "The poison is acting up quite frequently. If it wasn't for the White Yang pill, it would have taken at most 3 months." Her voice no longer had any charm, it now had an ethereal feeling. It was spoken softly from Jade Fairy's mouth. There was no hint of sadness in her voice. Perhaps, she had already gotten used to it. Hi guys, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.